This is Pakistan Studies, Paper 2, Environment of Pakistan, May-June 2017. The first question, A part, what is meant by each of the following terms? A subsistence crop farming, that basically means that crop grown for own consumption. Second, B part, cash crop farming, crops grown for commercial reasons. As the name cash, cash crop is obvious that it is used for reasons to earn money and monetary gain. Question 1, second part. From the list below, choose one example of a crop that is mainly grown as a subsistence crop and one that is mainly grown as a cash crop. So you have number of options here: rice, sugarcane, oil seeds, vegetable, cotton, and wheat. Now, a subsistence crop basically can be any of these, and a cash crop can also be any of these. But to make it into a more accurate answer, vegetables are more of a substance crop because it basically is used mostly in a domestic setting where people, households even, grow their own vegetables. Cash crop cotton, because cotton is one of the major exports from Pakistan, therefore it is a major valuable cash crop. So these two would be a good fit. 3 1 3. What are the advantages and disadvantages of using high yielding varieties of crop? Advantages are there are obviously higher yields and faster growth. Some disadvantages are seeds have to be bought every year and they exhaust the soil. B part, which shows figure 1 shows the population growth selected for provinces over 3 time periods. So A, what was the population growth rate of Punjab between 1972 and 1981? So this is the graph for 1972 and 1981. Now it's asking for Punjab. Now the key for Punjab is in this shade. So it's this one. So inaccurately it would be around 27%. So that's the answer, 27%. Which province showed an increase in population growth rate in every period? Sindh has shown remarkable increase in every period, so therefore Sindh would be the right answer. Identify one difference between the population growth rates of Balochistan and Punjab. Now, Balochistan growth rate increases and Punjab's growth rate is decreasing. The reason for that is that in Balochistan there is a less awareness towards new medical development and new contraceptions, whereas in Punjab every year there is some sort of new medical discovery, and the fact that people know what contraceptives are so that they use it while reproducing. Explain two factors which have contributed to population growth in Pakistan. You should develop your answer. Children are an important part of the labor, and there is mostly desire for sons. Now, these basically mean that there is a desire for having more sons. So, if there is a daughter that is born, people will try again to have sons. As long as they don't have sons, they will not stop reproducing. So, therefore, that's one of the reasons why in Balochistan, especially in regions such as Balochistan, there is a increase in population rather than a decrease. Now, this is a photograph A for question 1, which is showing describe the type of farming shown in the photograph. Now you can see that the herd is being led by a random person. So that means that it is basically nomadism, where you have to keep moving and there is no settlements nearby. So everything is in constant flux. How is the keeping of buffalo different from the type of farming in photograph A? Buffaloes are usually kept for domestic purposes, and since there are no settlements in this picture, that can clearly indicate that this is not an urban area. So, therefore, buffaloes are kept in urban areas. So, these are the two answers. Development of the livestock sector is the best way to increase the amount of food available in Pakistan. Increasing crop production in cultivable area is the best way of ensuring there is enough food in Pakistan. So these are two views for the food supply in Pakistan. So for livestock, large multinational farms and bigger protein source is basically why it is a good way to increase amount of food in Pakistan. But there is obviously less amount of land to put fodder for the animals, so there are also lack of funds. For food crops, more land can grow food for people. So if there is land and can grow large fields, that means there is more food for people for sustenance. And the against side of that is that there is also a lot of mismanagement in that area. Question number 2. Study figure 2, which shows changes in road type of Pakistan. Now these two maps are these two pie charts are basically talking about the roads that are metalled and unmetalled. Now, in the first pie chart from 1998 to 1999, there is a somewhat level playing field. There are metal roads, but there are also unmetalled roads. Now, in the year 2013 to 2014, there is a slight shift. Now, the part 1 tells the students to complete the pie chart for 2013-14 by using the following information and the key provided. So this is the key: 73% metal, 27 unmetal. So there is a vast number of increase in metal roads rather than unmetal roads. So the graph would look something like this, the one drawn, and this is how you calculate the percentage. You basically take the total number of metal roads in 2013 2014, you minus it by the total number of metal roads in the year 1998 to 99, which was 56%. So you minus 73 from 56, you get 17. 17% is your answer. Now suggest two advantages of developing the motorway network in Pakistan. Now, a motorway connection helps create a faster mode of road travel. It basically allows people to travel from even cover long distances in shorter time because the speed is higher. And it also relieves pressure on existing roads, such as in this case, if you talk about Lahore Islamabad link, you can think about the Grand Trunk Road or the motorway, and then you can see the amount of traffic that goes through the Grand Trunk Road and the motorway, and see how easy it is to travel along the motorway because of there is no traffic congestion. Explain the difficulties of building roads in desert areas of Pakistan. Now, the sandy terrain basically increases the construction cost. It is more difficult to construct roads in sandy terrains because the asphalt always keeps melting in the sand, and therefore it is difficult to create a proper road structure. Difficult working conditions, as mentioned, there is always because of extreme weather, lack of funding investment, and there is also opposition from tribal areas. Now, this section B, study photographs B and C. These are inserts in the paper, basically talking about telling different factions of how things are done. Now in photograph B for question 2, there are brick workers laying down bricks. And the question asks, using photograph B and your own knowledge, describe how bricks are made in rural areas. Now in rural areas, bricks are usually made by mixing clay with water. Then you put them in rectangular boxes like these, the ones in the picture, and then you leave them in the sun to dry. In other instances where there are brick kilns, you basically put them in so that they can burn and bake. Now, question number 2, B part section 2 is about photograph C. Now, here we see working farmers taking something, and this is basically the harvest which they are going to cut and bundle together. So these are the 2 points that you write down. C1. Why is employment in urban areas considered to be more attractive than employment in rural areas? Well, for starters, there is a higher salary rate in urban areas, so that's why people prefer going there so that they can earn more. And secondly, there are also better working conditions. Like you have facilities that can provide a lot for you, and there's always a better work environment as compared to rural areas. State three pull factors that attract migrants to urban areas other than for work. So you have to talk about pull factors that are other than work. Do not focus on the fact that you're going to talk about why is working there better, but you have to talk about other point of views, such as there are good schools available, there are a lot of educational facilities that basically is an incentive for people with families to go to urban areas so that their children can go to better schools. Secondly, there's also better hospitals than urban areas. So you have good hospitals with good medical facilities. They provide good medical care and they can deal with any issue that is prevalent in a patient. So therefore, people prefer living in such places. And thirdly, another important reason is that people want different avenues for entertainment, and in urban centers you usually find cinemas, parks, museums, playgrounds, all of these things, zoos, art museums. So all of these things basically make people more interested so that when they have free time they can explore other things in the city as well and enjoy their life as well while working. Now, the D part from question 2 is it has been proposed that a large integrated iron and steel mill should be built on the outskirts of Rawalpindi, Punjab. Now, the 80 kilometer of land will be cleared for the mill and new infrastructure will be provided to the site by the local authority. Large amounts of raw materials will be brought onto the site by road or rail. It is planned to produce up to 3 million tons of finished steel per year. Now, some of the benefits for this is that there is obviously a lot of employment opportunities as there is going to be an increased amount of product being produced. So there will be people needed for that. Therefore, it will be a good opportunity for people to get employment. Second, there is obviously if they are going to create new infrastructure around the steel mill. So obviously new roads will be built, which is always helpful for the city. And there will be more trade for local shops. Now local shops will benefit because there will be easy trade available within the city for steel. Some of the problems is that since a very large amount of land will be destroyed or demolished because they need to build a mill, so farmland and grazing will be reduced. So a lot of agricultural outputs would have to go um, out of business because of that. Secondly, there will be a risk for air pollution as steel mill uses a lot of burning material. It basically deals with burning a lot of raw materials, so the smoke coming out of chimneys can lead to a lot of problems in the air and also lead to smog. And thirdly, because there will be a lot of raw material being poured into the city of Rawalpindi, there's a chance that the heavy loaders or the heavy trucks would congest the traffic within the city, which obviously does not have enough roads as of yet. Question number 3. Study figure 3, which ranks Pakistan's main trading partners for imports and exports in 2013. So you have two sets for imports and exports. So UAE, China, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, India, Malaysia for imports, USA, China, Afghanistan, UAE, Germany, and UK for exports. Now name a country which is a main trading partner for both imports and export. Now as you can see, UAE and China appear in both the graphs. So this would be a plausible answer of writing down UAE and China. For either imports or exports, suggest reasons why countries listed are important. So you can talk about either imports or exports. Let's say we take China and India as an example. Why for imports? Because they're regional powers with strong economy, so they have a sustainable amount of capital, which makes manufactured goods. So that means that whatever we are getting is a very good value product, and that is only helping us more. And exports is because there's a large market, so whatever sales are being made through these particular countries, there will obviously be a large revenue for it, and there will be a larger market share. And plus, another important part is that the goods can be transferred easily because there are also land links available between these countries. Part B, study figure 4, which shows the amount of coal produced in Pakistan over the period of 1980 to 2012. Name two coal producing areas in Pakistan. So, coal is usually produced in the south of Pakistan near the provinces of Sindh and Balochistan. So, one particular place is Thar, which is near the Thar desert, and the other is Lakhda. So, these two places are major coal producing. There are also other regions as well, but if you focus on these two, you will get the marks. Complete figure 4 by drawing the bar for 1988. The amount of coal produced in 1988 was 3 million tons. Now, this is a pretty straightforward question. It is all it's asking is for you to draw a bar which was missing from 1998, which has been drawn here. So, this basically is the answer, and this is where the bar is drawn. In which year did coal production peak? Now, as from the bar, you can clearly see that in the year 2005, this is 2004, in year 2005, the coal production reached its maximum of around 5,700 tons. So the answer is year 2005. Now, how was the coal production changed since its peak? The correct answer, circle the correct answer. So since its peak, it has been declining. So the correct answer would be decreased. Explain why the amount of coal being extracted in Pakistan has changed since its peak. Number one reason is that the mines are being exhausted because there had been a peak and there has been a large number of production done. The chances of sustainable coal mining reduces. So therefore there is a decline. Second is that there is a lot of cost that goes in extracting mines. So therefore, and since Pakistan is one of developing economy, so therefore they don't have that much infrastructure avenues to keep extracting coal at a higher rate. There's also a lack of skilled labor, and another point is that due to the increase in insurgency during the years following 2005, there has been a decrease. So this era is basically pretty violent as well. So because of that, the coal production also decreased. And since the coal mines are in the outskirts where the insurgency was at or still is at its peak, so therefore there is a reduction. See, Pakistan usually has a negative balance of trade. What is the meaning of balance of trade? So the balance of trade is basically the value of import and the difference it makes when you calculate it against the value of exported goods. What are the reasons for having a negative balance of trade? So you basically make imports minus them with and then you get that balance of trade. So what are the reasons for having negative balance of trade? So that is value of import is higher and the value of export is lower. So that means that you get a negative answer. Low quality of exports is another reason, and then sanctions and embargoes imposed by other countries. So just two effects of a negative balance of trade on the national economy: foreign debt and rise in taxation. Whether using global telecommunication has improved employment opportunities in Pakistan, give reasons to support your answer and refer to examples you have studied. You should consider different points of view in your answer. So, why telecommunication has improved? Because it has created a lot of employment opportunities. There are better paid jobs in the tertiary sector, and there is improved working condition. And there is has been little to no improvement. Why? Because there is a few employment opportunities, lack of skills, and there is a lot of cost for computers. Here we have a diagram of a carré system which is for used for irrigation. These are the labels that have been done. So canal, an aquifer, this is the maintenance shaft, water table, and tunnel. You only have to choose three, so any of the three labeled in this way would get full marks. Give an example of a barrage in Pakistan and name the river. So a barrage is one of the names is Kuddu Barrage, which is in or located on the Indus River near jail. Statewide barrages are needed. So barrages are needed for irrigation and also because they are a valuable asset in flood control. Describe two ways in which the atmosphere in Pakistan can be polluted. One of the main reasons is because of industrial waste and industrial fumes that come out of chimneys when something is being burned. Second is clearing forestation by burning. So you clear large swathes of forest through burning, then obviously the smoke that goes up in the air creates a lot of pollution. Explain how the use of chemical fertilizers on farms damages the natural environment. You should develop your answer. One of the reasons is river pollution. There's always this chance of unbalancing the ecosystem. The soil gets damaged, and there is increase in nitrates in groundwater, which actually makes the groundwater undrinkable, leading to a lot of diseases and chronic problems. Now, this pie chart is showing irrigation, livestock, industrial, and domestic sector which uses water. Which sector used the least water? The domestic sector, yeah, according to the graph, has used the least amount of water. How much water was used by the irrigation livestock sector? So this is the irrigation livestock sector. Most of it is being used by them, which is approximately up to 94%. Now here you can name any type of industry that uses large amounts of water, from irrigation to livestock to beverages to tanning to printing, painting. All of these industries use a lot of water and beverage industry. So any of these answers will get you 1 mark. About 60% of irrigation water is lost before it reaches crops. Give three reasons why irrigation water is lost in this way. There can be a seepage in the canal beds, which makes the water go downwards into the ground rather than flow properly towards the irrigational system. There can be mismanagement as to where the water is being directed, can be mismanaged, and also theft of water that is being directed towards irrigational fields. Read the following two views about water shortages in Pakistan. The best way to prevent water shortage in Pakistan is to build more dams. Another point of view is the best way to prevent water shortage in Pakistan is to educate people about different methods of saving water. So now building dams. Why? Because it prevents loss of water. Reservoirs feed perennial canals. So reservoirs can lead the water into the canals, which can then lead into irrigation and then irrigating the whole farmlands used through the canal irrigation system. Against using dams or infrastructure, source of conflict between provinces and countries. As is very poignantly talked about the fact that building a dam has always been a controversial point of view, such as building the Kalabagh Dam raises a problem for Sindh, whereas building dams near Punjab always strikes an issue with the neighboring India because there are always issues and conflicts on who has the control of the river that is flowing from a certain point in the country. And secondly, there is a lot of loss of water at the Indus Delta. So that is one of the engaged reasons for infrastructure. Now, why should people be educated and told about saving water? And what can be done for that is that one can plant trees. That way, water can be saved. Secondly, you can use lining canals, which is obviously a stack form of canals where one water is continuously flowing from one section to another. And against water saving is because of increased demand for drinking water, there is always a chance that water saving may not be a popular way of decreasing water shortage in the country.